Hello and welcome to this week's CATAMANIA episode / reaction series episode. And of course, reminder, if you're enjoying this podcast and this episode, remember to give it a good rating, leave a nice comment where you can leave a comment, and enjoy. The first topic is reality.
Maybe no matter who you marry, at some point you're going to question it. Here's something most people don't talk about. You're not unhappy because you chose the wrong person. You're unhappy because no one, and I mean no one, is perfect. The man with money might have no time. The man with time might have no money. The one who's romantic might feel too smooth to trust. The one who's loyal might seem a little boring. The charming one, he might charm everyone. The honest one, you'll wish he was a little more spontaneous. No matter who you pick, there's a trade-off. That's not cynicism, it's reality. Marriage isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about two people being willing to stay when it's messy, confusing, boring, or hard. Happy marriages aren't lucky. They're built. And yes, there will be moments where you'll look at your partner and wonder, is this it? That doesn't mean it's wrong. That means you're human. The biggest lie you've been told is that real love should always feel magical. The truth? Sometimes love looks like doing dishes while your partner decompresses. It looks like sharing silence when you don't have the words. It looks like picking up groceries when you're tired or giving space without taking it personally. So if you're waiting for a relationship that feels perfect, you'll wait forever. But if you're ready to build a partnership that's real, flawed but solid, you might just find the kind of love that actually lasts.
It's more of a decision, really, you know what I mean? And I remember my mom once told me that her biggest wish for her kids, for me and my brother, is to find someone with whom silence doesn't feel awkward. Because, yeah, sometimes you will feel like you're roommates more than you are husband and wife. Like, there are periods of time when Alex and I are so busy with work, there's so many things going on that we're together, but we're a little disconnected from each other. That doesn't mean that our relationship is not good or it's suffering. It just means that as soon as we get the chance, even before we get the chance, actually, we prioritize spending time with each other and we prioritize our relationship. And I think in these times that we're living in, especially with social media, where you see highlights of people talking about what a perfect relationship looks like, very often it's easy to look at your own relationship and think, oh, if he didn't buy me a Lamborghini, already, or he doesn't buy me a brand new Lamborghini every 6 months or whatever, if you're into Lamborghinis, something is wrong, right? You compare, and that comparison very often is dangerous for your relationship, right? Not to say that, again, I think from many angles, if you look at it, a lot of the content that you see online, if you use it for your own benefit, it can actually improve your relationship because it can lead to both of you raising your standards and, maybe wanting to put in more effort. But you got to be careful about when you make a decision for yourself that the relationship isn't right for you, because it could just be that maybe both of you need to put in more effort and prioritize each other rather than, oh, this relationship is not it because it's not perfect, because it's not like it is for, I don't know.
Do you want to be a professional beauty sleeper? Then you better learn how to sleep like a professional. I have been using the Manta Sleep Mask because I wanted to introduce some real darkness into my life, not the kind of darkness that bounces off city lights off your ceiling at 2 a.m. Manta Sleep Mask offers full blackout, so you don't see any lights while you're asleep. It's very soft on your skin. It doesn't bother you at all. They have great options such as Silk Mask, which is my personal favorite, as well as the Sound Mask, which helps you drift away to sleep while listening to your favorite sounds and meditations. You guys can use my code Cristina10 for 10% off. There's also a discount link in the captions of this episode.
Okay, topic number 2.
Vinyl flooring is a big one because it makes a flooring project so much more affordable. But that stuff is shedding all the time, and vinyl is not a good...
Not the flooring.
It's got chlorine in it. It's just not a good substance to have around your living environment.
Floors are bad for us.
And those generally have
I'm going to Mars,
a component
that's it.
of fire resistance to them. Those fire-resistant chemicals are forever chemicals called PFAS.
Is air okay for us? Like at this
fluoride,
point,
alkyl
fam, I don't
substances, which don't go away. They're hard to eliminate from the body. They're very hard to eliminate from the environment.
They call them forever chemicals, right?
Yeah, I don't. And this may surprise people, but I do not like I shun recycled plastic because I don't know where it came from. I don't know what kind of plastic it is. I don't know what it was used for before. So it doesn't impress me. And apparently it doesn't impress a lot of people because we only recycle like 2% of our plastic that can be recycled.
Yeah.
So it's not a real solution anyway.
I remember seeing a video recently about how like the water from your tap is not good for you to bathe in. You should put a filter. And I'm like, we stayed in a beautiful apartment in Mexico this past winter when we were there with our friends that had like the whole building and every apartment was built 100% out of natural materials. So I think like the floor were what, like limestone, or what material was it? Limestone, limestone wood. Even our bed frames were limestone. So the bed frames were like basically built into the room. You couldn't move the bed. And it felt so good to be in that apartment. Even breathing, like when you would breathe, you would feel like you're breathing natural materials into your body. Like this was the first time I felt that way ever anywhere I've stayed. It was very, very interesting. And you just felt good being there. And you definitely feel a difference between like when we were staying there or when we, even our current place in Vancouver, like we definitely have vinyl flooring. Let's move on to topic number 3, which is charity organizations.
So we send $100,000 to this group to buy food for like poor kids in Africa. Okay. And what actually happens is it's not $100,000 that go to the food for the poor kids in Africa.
Right.
That the NGO, the non-government organization that gets that money, contracts it out to somebody else.
Right. So
and
there's
then
a
they
middleman.
subcontract it out to somebody.
There's a
There's like
middleman.
3 or 4 middlemen.
Oh.
And what, Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State, he's a very good friend. What he told me is that his best estimate after he had his team look at it is that 88 cents of every dollar was actually being collected by middlemen.
No way.
So every dollar we were spending humanitarian assistance, 12 cents was actually making it to people who needed it. That's crazy. So there's a lot of waste, man, a lot of crazy stuff.
I remember seeing a video a while ago, and I wish I remembered who was in the video and where it was from, but it was somebody talking about, they sound very knowledgeable about the subject. They were talking about how every country that has been basically surviving off of aid for the past however many years has had basically no economical or like sociological, is that socioeconomical improvement. Also worth noting that many places in the world are very, very corrupt. So yeah, like that, this makes sense to me, to be honest with you. I myself come from a country that historically, like Moldova historically has been very corrupt. And it's not even as corrupt as, for example, some of my friends who come from other parts of the world are telling me about their countries, how corrupt they are. Some countries have corruption like right in your face. Let's move to topic number 4, which is iPad kids.
If you have young kids, for God's sake, do not give them an iPad or a phone. We've all discovered that an iPad or a touchscreen phone is an incredible pacifier. It works. 40% of American 2-year-olds have their own iPad. 2-year-olds. Don't do that, because what that does is now the child will never be bored again. If the child is bored for even 30 seconds, they scream for the iPad, and you're going to have to give it to them. So don't start on that. And if you started, take it away. It'll take about 3 or 4 weeks for the brain to adapt. But I'm hearing stories now about kids in preschool. They cry at drop off, not because mom is leaving, but because the iPad is leaving. And they were on the iPad in the car, and they can't be taken away from the iPad because of the addiction processes.
Just speaking strictly from my own experience of having a phone, right? Makes perfect sense. Like, think about how many times during the day you pick up your phone when you feel maybe like you need a distraction or you need to do something. My good friend Nicole Benham recently made a really, really cool post about, like, if you think you're not addicted to your phone, think again. And then it basically walks you through like all these things that all of us do that really show how addicted we are to these things. Like, we as, like, I'm a fully grown adult, okay? I'm 30 years old and I'm addicted to this thing, full on. Like, I recognize that. I'm trying to be very mindful of it. It's also how I work. Most of my work is done on my phone, but I very often will use that as an excuse almost. When I spend a little too much time, I'm like, well, this is what I do for work, so it's fine. But I even feel like I am addicted to this thing. So it makes perfect sense for me, just strictly based on, logic here, that a child would probably get even more addicted to it because the brain is still developing and whatnot. So yeah, and I know that a lot of times parents, just out of necessity because they need to do something and they can't because the child is, needs attention, but they need to pay attention to something else or someone else at the moment. So they just give the piece of technology to them to have that little bit of extra time to themselves or to whatever the thing is that needs attention. But yeah, I don't know. Like, how did we used to do it? How did parents used to do it? Because I obviously didn't grow up with a phone. Okay, and last topic is wives in bikinis. Wow, what a way to end this reaction.
Wives wearing thong bikinis? Here's the truth. High-level husbands don't have wives who wear those in public. It's one thing to wear them at your house and in private. I absolutely respect people who work hard on their body, but character gets revealed quickly by our actions. Marriage is a direct reflection of you. A classy man has a classy wife.
I also grew up in a culture where it was very common for women to tan topless on beaches. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.